Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and I have no idea what's wrong with my lights today. I've been trying to play around with them for quite a while, so I'm just going to have to hope that once, it may just be my camera making it look dark, but it does look dark in there to me. Maybe it's the fact that I'm being blinded. But anyway, on to the topic of conversation today, GTX580. See, I'm so used to saying it, GTX680 SLI. And we've got some Zotac cards to play with. The reference cards at the moment, as I told you in the video previously, when we did the original 680 review, all the reference cards are exactly the same. So the thing to kind of that makes them stand out a bit different is the warranty and the stuff that you get in with the boxes and stuff like that. So this one is actually got a 3 game pack with it. It's got Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed Revelations. There's also a 3-day pass in there for Trackmania, which is pretty good. And I've been looking to try and find out about the warranty on this one, because that's another thing that you need to kind of contend with. So basically, when you buy these, the price will, obviously some brands are going to charge a little bit extra just because that's the way they are, but the thing to look at is what you get in the box. So for argument's sake, if you don't necessarily want to play Assassin's Creed, it might be better for you to go and get another card. But I'm not going to tell you not to get the Zotac one, because that's the one we're reviewing today. And where I had the original 680 that I got from Nvidia hanging around, what I've basically done is chucked the Zotac one in with the OEM one, because they're, you know, the same card essentially, so that we can finally do some SLI testing. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go on and do some benchmarks. We'll do a bit of gameplay, and then we'll get everything wrapped up at the end in the conclusion, and see what kind of, you know, how we get on with this. But it's time for me to shush my mouth and let's get on, apart from the fact that you can see the card here. It's time for me to get on so that we can see how these perform. Right then, on to the benchmarks. On the left hand side, we have the stock 680 single card. On the right hand side, we have the stock 680s in SLI. So we had 9,249 for the single card, and then 16,397 for the SLI. But if I move them both on quickly, I can go on to the X scores. So we go for the X score, we go 3,185 for the single, and then that goes up to 4,722 for the double. Now I'm going to race through these. We're going to move on to Vantage now. So for Vantage, we had 37,102 for the single, and then 53,057 for the dual. But that was with a GPU score of 35,352 for the single card, and then 55,000 is that 5,039 for the dual card. So what we're going to do now is just move on quickly to the X score. Right then, so 19,610 for single, 35,646 for the SLI, and that's with a GPU score of 19,025 on the single, and 35,183 on the SLI. Now, we need to remember that these are still on the launch SLI drivers as well. Nvidia they're all working fine. We're not really seeing any game glitches or any benchmark glitches or anything like that. But the scaling is about 70%, 60-70%. I think that with a couple of driver increments, I reckon the scaling will probably get better these, but that's speculation. So we'll go with what they are now. So it does perform really, really well in SLI, but the older 500 series had a better percentage ratio for the kind of bump up. But what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to some gameplay results, or some gaming. Now, all the games that are run at 1920 by 1080, and the games are all maxed out completely. So everything is that we can possibly turn up and max out has been. So if you see anyone in the comments underneath asking if the game had Uber sampling or something like that on, they've not watched all of the video, and give them a licky finger and wet willy in the ear for not watching all of it and skipping and asking stupid questions. So just to make it clear, 1920 by 1080 for all the games, and everything is maxed out as much as we possibly can do, which is what we do with every gameplay session. So right, yeah, it's time to move on to some Batman. Right then peeps, Batman first, but I'll talk about the on-screen display that we've got at the top. It's done in Afterburner. People ask me every time about that and how to set it up. You've just got to go into the OSD settings and start clicking which one you want to enable for OSD or not. But basically at the top we've got the frames per second. Second line down, going from left to right, we've got the temperature. Then we've got the GPU usage, and then the right at the end, the one that's flicking between 38 and 39, that's the fan speed. So in the middle is the actual GPU usage. And then obviously at the bottom we've got the amount of memory being used. So just to clarify, 67 degrees, obviously the temperature, 63, 64%, that's the GPU usage. And then 39% is the fan speed, and then the memory at the bottom. So there's plenty on the screen there for you to be able to draw conclusions from. This is obviously Batman, which is not exactly the best coded game in the world. Definitely still needs patching. But the fact that we are finally getting kind of 50 plus in this and it's playable is brilliant. But obviously you need, you know, massive hardware to get the best from this at the moment. I do hope that the game developers will sort it out soon, because it's not the drivers, it really is, it's down to the game. It's just immensely badly coded, and you practically need a NASA computer to be able to get it to run very good. Just dip down then to 47 frames per second. We're just doing a quick run round with this. We're not really trying to do anything, just trying to show you what's possible. It's more to give you a feel for it than anything else. We'll be doing a standalone video of this, so if you are interested in the standalone video, please look that up. It will be uploaded shortly after this one. But we're going to end this one here, and we're going to move on to some Dirt 3. Right then peeps, on to Dirt 3, frames per second at the top again. We've got the temperature for the cards there, then the GPU usage, and then the fan speed. Many of you may be thinking to yourself straight away that maybe they are slightly warm, but one of the things with the Nvidias that I quite like is the fact that, yeah, okay, they do run a little bit warmer, but they're much, much quieter. To me, I would rather have a graphics card at 80 degrees and silent than 60 degrees and basically be intrusive. They are fairly well designed for this type of thing now. Obviously you can water cool them and stuff if it's a problem for you, but to be perfectly honest, it's just, it's so nice to have a nice powerful card that's quiet. It's the way it should be in my eyes. Obviously 809 megabytes there being used on each of the cards, but as you can see the graphics aren't even really being run at 100%. Resolution is 1920 by 1080, and all the games that we'll be playing are completely maxed out as well, as I've said previously. We basically turn everything on we can. We always get questions asking, have we turned this on, have we turned that on? Everything we can turn on and turn to the max we have done. But that's enough of this. You can see it's playing perfectly fine. Perfectly fine, more than that. That's the end of the race anyway. Time for us to move on. Moving on to some brief Mafia gameplay. Another game that is really not hardly even stressing the cards at all. As you can see, I don't think I've seen it actually hit 100% GPU usage yet. It just doesn't need all this power. It's absolutely immense. And on that note, let's move on to Metro. Right then, taking a look at Metro. Again, don't forget 78 frames a second, 68 as it is there. Then you've got the temperature, the GPU usage, and then the fan speed. And as you can see, the GPU usage is right up there at 98, 99%. The top card has warmed up a little bit and the fan speed's gone up to 55%, although it's still really quiet. And the memory's up a little bit from the other games as well. We're running at 1239 megabytes being used. Again, this is with everything turned on to the absolute max. Just goes to show that Metro can still be a pretty damn demanding game. What we're going to do now is move on to the final game, which is Witcher, to see how it copes with this. Right then, peeps, conclusion. We'll start off with the award and then we'll kind of move onwards as we always do. And then I'm going to give it the same award that I gave the OEM 680, which is the gold award. The thing to kind of keep in mind with the SLI kind of nature in this is obviously the price is going to be quite high. But as you've seen, it even made Batman playable. So there's an immense amount of power here. Together, as long as you've not got them, as long as your board's got 3 slots between the top card and the bottom card, you'll be fine, because that's 2 for the actual card itself and then a 1 slot gap so that they can breathe. I really don't like it when the 2 cards are sandwiched right up against each other, because the top card will always get so much hotter and louder. No matter what make it is, brand it is, or anything like that, you'll always get those problems. So if you can have 3, some boards even have a 4 slot gap so that the 2 cards can breathe properly, in the long run you'll be much better off. Some of you out there might not care, really may not faze you, but you know, for me personally, and the advice that I would be to pass on to you would be that make sure you get at least that extra slot gap. So, performance. I still got an inkling that these drivers are remotely, or they are still a bit immature. And I do expect the scaling levels to go up a little bit with a couple of driver refreshes. As it is at the moment, it was a bit less than I was expecting, I have to admit. The bumps up. I was expecting kind of from 9,500 to be going up to about 17,000, maybe a little bit more in the 3D Mark 11. So for it to have only gone from 9.5 to 16, what was it, 16.3, I found that a little bit low. But like I said, I would expect this to get much better as the drivers mature and stuff like that. It may even bring out like updates for 3D Mark. Games, they all work really well. We didn't have any problems with that. None of the games look like they weren't really utilising the cards properly, unless when the frames per second went skyrocket, so like for argument's sake, Dirt 3 we were having like 150 odd frames a second. If you notice with that game, the GPUs weren't actually running at 100% either. They literally were sat there kind of twiddling their thumbs at like 60%. Now I don't know whether that's a game utilization, as in it doesn't need to use all that full power, or whether it's a card thing, the fact that when the frames per second do go that high, the card kind of throttles back, for want of a better term. I don't know which way round it is with that, but no matter what it is, with the frames per second that high, you wouldn't really want your card running at 100%, would you? Because it'd be utterly pointless. But the one thing I will say is that, like I said, Batman, even that was, we didn't see any dips, we didn't really see it stutter. The game was much more fluid, and we all know that Batman is still, you know, a badly coded game. It does need a hell of a patch to be able to, you know, sort it out when a top end card like this or a 7970 still kind of has problems with it. Kind of, yeah. Then again, I suppose the thought that jumped in my mind then was the original Crysis was always horrific, and you needed kind of immense amount of graphics processing power to ever get that thing to play properly. So maybe it's kind of, you know, along those lines. And Crysis was a benchmark for such a long time, although the Batman before this was always used as a good tool as well. But the long and short of it is, the Zotac card, it's a great card based on, you know, what the 680 is, which is epic. It's just another reference card, but it's not to be shunned. Zotac have got a great after sales service. They're well known in the UK market now, and in the States, and in kind of like Asia and places like that. And they're a very well respected brand. So if you're looking for a 680, there's no reason why you wouldn't be considering this. Another good thing to keep in mind as well, although this is kind of something that Zotac won't necessarily like me talking about too much, is that where it is a reference card, these are the cards that you're going to be wanting to grab if you are looking to water cool. There are a few blocks starting to come out, you know, around now, but I expect within the next kind of 2 to 4 weeks, the market's going to be flooded with all the manufacturers bringing their blocks to bringing their blocks out for us to all kind of take a look at and stuff like that. So if you are thinking about water cooling these at a later date, and it's not really, because the fans, as with the reference one, it's the same kind of thing. It's nothing specific with the Zotac. The fans stay really quiet and they don't really spin up at all. So that's why the GPU looks slightly warmer, but it's because it's quiet. Now, if I had to choose the 7970 to be where that's cooler but the fans are louder, or the 680, which is slightly warmer but the fans are almost inaudible, I would always choose the 680 for the quietness. You could put this in your rig with the stock cooler and have it as a quiet system, and that for me is paramount, to the point that the 7970 was quiet, but this is like quieter still. And it's one of the reasons why, if you were to ask me which way I would swing, I would favour these. Now, if you've seen my 680 review before, you'll know that I kind of rate the 680 and the 7970 on par. I don't really see anything in the real world, which is frames per second. I don't really see anything between them. Obviously, some games favour AMD, some games favour Nvidia, but for a blank canvas, and you know, not kind of looking at those two things, there's really not a lot between them. The only thing that would sway me towards the green team would be the fact that the cooler is that much quieter. So that's it. Zotac GTX680, which we obviously tested in SLI. It's great to see these two cards together. Yeah, I'm going to be bloody courier. I'm going to be back very shortly with lots of other exciting stuff for you, so stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe and comment if you haven't before. I always read the comments, may not reply to all of them, but I always read them. So yes, I will see you guys all very soon. This is Tiny Tom Logan with the Zotac GTX680 Gold Award winning graphics card out.